Okay, here's a question for you. What if two stories, I mean completely separate stories, decades and continents apart, were actually linked?
Yeah.
Linked by some kind of dark ancient secret.
Hmm.
We're
Yeah.
talking about a soldier really disillusioned in the Vietnam War, and then jump forward, a modern-day archaeologist just trying to take a vacation.
Right. And that's really our mission for this deep dive, isn't it? To explore this narrative, which, while it's fiction, it feels incredibly real in the themes it tackles.
Yeah.
Things like war's impact, archaeological ethics, ancient beliefs. It's all in there. We're going to try and connect the dots between, well, a pretty harrowing wartime experience, this adventure in Southeast Asia, and an artifact that, frankly, defies easy explanation.
Exactly. And for this deep dive, we're using excerpts from this really gripping narrative. We'll treat them as, let's say, powerful accounts to explore these events and what the people involved went through. So let's start. 1965, Vietnam. Picture the jungle, the heat, the humidity. It's just relentless. You're seeing it through the eyes of Sergeant Gary Thomsen. He hates the goddamn war, as he calls it. Not the police action the politicians back home keep saying. He's fighting the jungle, the fear, and the leeches. He says they were just always there, always attached. A constant, disgusting thing.
And that experience, that visceral feeling, it's grounded in the reality of the time. Gary apparently often thought about President Johnson's words, which really resonated with his own despair.
What were those words again?
It was something like, war is always the same. It is young men dying. It is trying to kill a man that you do not even know well enough to hate. To know war is to know that there is still madness in the world. Pretty powerful stuff.
Yeah.
And Gary was right in the thick of it. Operation Masher, which, they later renamed White Wing, probably to sound less aggressive.
Right, PR even back then.
Exactly. It was this huge search and destroy mission in the Bong Sun Plain. Brutal fighting. Lots of casualties, both sides. And that's actually where Gary Sargent was killed.
So that's how he got promoted.
Yeah, field promotion to E5, Sergeant.
Right.
He didn't want it, but suddenly he's in charge of a rifle squad, thrust into leadership.
So amidst all that chaos and misery, he's on patrol, actually taking point even though he's the sergeant. And he finds something, something impossible.
He does. An old building, almost swallowed by the jungle, the entrance, described like a serpent's mouth, really evocative.
Okay, creepy. What's inside?
Well, the sunlight pours through a hole in the roof, and it lights up. Treasure. Just an unbelievable amount of treasure.
What kind of treasure?
Gold figurines, Buddhas with emeralds set into them, ivory pieces, delicate painted bowls, jade, coral carvings, just incredible stuff.
Wow.
And the weirdest part, it all looked polished, recently placed almost, not covered in jungle grime like you'd expect. It must have felt like a hallucination in the middle of that war zone.
I can only imagine. So
Yeah.
what does Gary do, seeing all this potential wealth?
Well, you have to remember the context, right? Constant danger, deprivation. His reaction may be understandable. He decides to loot it.
Just like that.
Just like that, his thinking was, it's just lying around. He stuffs his pack, his pockets, takes a diamond sunflower seed ring he thinks his girlfriend would like, gold beads, little jade carvings.
He wasn't alone.
No, his subordinate, Wallum, jumps right in too. Grabs an ivory bird with wings that came off, easy to hide. For Gary, it was suddenly this fantastical hope. Buying a Mustang, maybe even a house, a state.
A powerful motivator in hell.
Absolutely, that sudden prospect of wealth. It's a very human reaction to extreme circumstances.
Okay, let's shift gears. Jump forward. Modern day. We meet Annja Creed. She's an archaeologist, pretty well known, has her own show, Chasing History's Monsters.
Right, quite the reputation.
And she needs a break. Badly. So she heads to northern Thailand with another archaeologist, Lurataro Augustin. They picked this remote resort near my Hong Son specifically because I had no TVs, no phones. They wanted peace and quiet.
But as seems to be the pattern with Annja, even when she's looking for quiet, trouble, or at least mystery, it tends to find her.
She has that knack, doesn't she?
She does. And she has this secret, too. This ability, almost mystical, to summon Joan of Arc's sword. Something she uses against, well, darker forces. The region itself, Mae Hong Son, is fascinating. Hot springs and the Karen tribe, the Padang.
Oh, the ones with the neck rings.
That's them. The long-necked women, a really unique cultural tradition.
So peace and quiet doesn't last long, I take it.
Not really. Lord Taro, being an archaeologist, is itching to explore. He wants to check out a local cave called Thomlad, known as a spirit cave.
But Annja has reservations.
Yeah, she gets this weird sense of dread about it, just brushes it off as being tired, They hire a local guide, Sergeant Thomsen, a Shan tribesman. The trek itself sounds beautiful, but maybe a bit eerie. Twisted limestone mountains, dense jungle everywhere.
And the cave, Thamlod. What's special about it?
It's pretty amazing, actually. There's this bird show at sunset. Hundreds of thousands of bats fly out, and at the same time, swifts fly in. They literally trade places.
Wow, never heard of that.
Apparently, it only happens there. And Spirit Cave. That comes from some local tribes, not the Shan, believing souls of the dead live there. Archaeologically, it's huge, too. A 20,000-year-old human skeleton was found there.
The oldest in northern Thailand.
That's right. And cave paintings, too, though they're faded now, sadly. Tourists touching them in the past. Dear Arrow's son.
So they explore deeper. What else?
They find these incredible teak coffins. Huge, 7 to 9 feet long, over 2,000 years old, intricately carved.
Wow. Still containing bodies.
No, empty. Some pottery pieces inside. But it's here, looking at these ancient coffins, that Annja's feeling of dread intensifies.
And she hears something.
Yeah, a voice seemingly in her head insistent, "Free me."
Okay, that's definitely not fatigue.
No, and it pushes her. She wants to find quieter caves, untouched ones, so she arranges a private trip with their guide, Zakarat, to another cave nearby called Pingya.
Pingya Cave.
Is it significant too? Oh, absolutely. People called the Hobinium lived there around 8,000 BC. And what's really interesting is work done by a U.S. plant researcher about 50 years ago.
What did they find?
Evidence that these Hobinium people weren't just hunter-gatherers, which was the assumption. They farmed, they domesticated animals, they made the sophisticated polished stone tools called adzes.
So more advanced than previously thought.
Much more. There's even a theory that the Chinese might have learned stone polishing from them. It kind of flips the script on ancient innovation in the region.
Fascinating. But this private expedition to Pingya, it doesn't go smoothly, does it?
Not at all. Things go wrong fast. A flash flood hits while they're deep inside.
Trapped.
Trapped. Rising water, darkness closing in, and that's when they find it. Another treasure hoard, massive.
Similar to the one Gary Thomsen found back in '65.
Strikingly similar. Gold Buddhas, ivory, jade, coral carvings, but also modern stuff mixed in.
Modern stuff, like what?
A crumpled Chinese cigarette pack. A clipboard.
Okay, wait. Ancient treasure. 2,000-year-old coffins, 8,000 BC inhabitants, and a modern clipboard. How does that fit?
Exactly. That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Why mix ancient artifacts with modern debris? It immediately suggests something else is going on, something connecting these different times.
Yeah, it gets worse, doesn't it? What's the most chilling find?
Amidst all this treasure, Annja finds an object, a bowl, shaped like a human skull, dull white, polished, covered in strange symbols.
Oh, no.
And she feels that voice, "Free me," coming from the bowl. Inside it, thick, dried blood and military dog tags.
Dog tags? Whose?
She scrapes off the blood, reads the names. Thomsen, Moore, Wallum.
Thomsen. Gary Thomsen. The soldier from the start.
It seems so. The horror of this bowl, it's not just an object. Later analysis suggests the symbols are a corruption, a twisted version of voodoo or hoodoo spell.
Spells? For what?
They seem to combine elements meant to invoke spirits like Kalfu, Papageta, Legba, but perverted. Its purpose appears to be utterly horrifying, to trap a human soul.
Trap a soul.
To force it to relive its moment of death over and over, eternally, never reaching any kind of afterlife, just trapped in that final moment.
And the dog tags inside, including Gary Thomsen's.
The implication is unavoidable, isn't it? That Gary Thomsen, the soldier who found that first treasure, is the soul trapped inside this nightmare thing.
Deeply disturbing. The idea that an object could do that, does that kind of belief have any real-world parallels?
Yeah.
Trapping souls in objects.
Well, the specifics here are part of the narrative, but the core idea, that spiritual essence can be tied to physical objects, absolutely. You see echoes of it across cultures worldwide. Think relics, sacred items, protective charm.
But also cursed objects.
Also cursed objects, yes. Or objects used in rituals meant to bind or control spirits. It taps into these really deep human anxieties and fascinations about death, the soul, and, well, control beyond the grave.
So they've made this terrifying discovery. The flood is rising. What happens next? Things must have just spiraled.
Completely. As they're struggling to escape the flooding cave, Andrew realizes Luartar has been pocketing treasure himself.
Yes.
Priorities, right.
Oh, great.
And then, bam, they're ambushed outside by armed Vietnamese men.
Just like that. More violence.
Andrew reflects on how danger just always finds her. She has to fight, uses a pistol she took from one attacker, and then eventually she summons her sword.
Joan of Arc's sword.
The very same. But the fight has terrible consequences.
What happens?
Stray bullets hit 2 local boys from the nearby Thins village. Boonmi and Tao, they're killed.
Oh no, innocent bystanders.
Just caught in the crossfire. A brutal reminder of the real human cost of this kind of illicit activity. Luckily, there was a retired British vet acting as the village doctor who could patch up Annja and Luartaro. But the boys...
Such a tragedy. And the situation gets even worse, right? Their guide.
Sakarat. Annja realizes he used the chaos to run off with her backpack.
The backpack with the skull bowl in it.
Exactly. So Annja, furious now, grieving, determined, goes after him.
Does she find him?
She does, but it's too late. He's been murdered. Shot, stabbed, stripped of the jewelry he'd likely stolen earlier. And the backpack, the skull bowl, gone.
So the killer's got the bowl.
It seems so. Annja, just filled with cold fury, vows to hunt them down.
This whole cycle. The looting, the violence, the deaths. It's devastating.
It really underscores the damage this kind of smuggling does. It's not just about stealing artifacts. It destroys history, context, and tragically innocent lives. It treats cultural heritage as just another commodity to fight and kill over.
Annja doesn't give up, though. Where does her pursuit lead her?
She tracks the operation to Chiang Mai, finds an antique shop, quickly realizes it's a front.
A front for the smuggling ring.
A big one. And she does something pretty clever, actually. Sneaks around and punctures the tires on their vehicles, buys herself some time, makes it harder for them to move the hoard she knows must be inside.
Smart move. Does she find out who's running this whole thing?
She does. She encounters one of the key players. A former American soldier, goes by Sandman, later identified as Sandusky. And he reveals who he's working for. Lam Vuong. An old, very powerful, former North Vietnamese army colonel.
An NVA colonel and a former U.S. soldier working together. That's unexpected.
It points to how tangled these post-war legacies can become. And Lan Vuong, his story explains a lot.
What's his story?
It's pretty harrowing. Captured by the Americans during the war. Then, because of lost paperwork, bureaucratic mess-ups, he ends up spending 40 years in prison.
40 years. Just forgotten.
Essentially, yes. A forgotten man from a forgotten war. So when he finally gets out, he's old, deeply bitter, and feels like the world owes him big time.
And this smuggling operation is how he collects.
Exactly. He uses his old wartime contacts, Sandman's network, starts moving these ancient golden treasures that monks had hidden away during the war, smuggling them through Laos, Thailand, building this massive enterprise. He apparently told his nephew he was owed for those lost years.
So that antique shop wasn't just a shop.
Oh, no. It was a huge warehouse, Annja realizes. Packed floor to ceiling with priceless artifacts, ready to be shipped off to international buyers.
And Sandman, what was his deal?
Turns out he was dying. Pancreatic cancer. Didn't have long. He tells Annja, something's rotten inside. A chilling line, kind of mirroring the moral decay of the whole operation, maybe even echoing Gary Thompson's initial despair about the war's madness.
So Annja knows who's behind it all. Does she confront Lan Vuong?
She tracks him down, to Hue in Vietnam. But when she gets there...
What?
He's already dead, died of his illness. It's almost anticlimactic. As Sandman warned her, she'd only cut the tail off the snake, not the head. The network was bigger than just him.
But her primary goal now is the bowl, right?
Yes. Finding the skull bowl, understanding it, and figuring out what happened to the souls trapped inside, especially Gary Thompson's.
Which brings us full circle. Annja, despite everything, does manage to disrupt the operation significantly.
Hugely. The authorities hail her as a hero. They call it the biggest relic ring in all of Vietnam. Sandman, Sandusky, is finally caught after all those years.
But it came at a cost for her, personally.
Definitely. She was injured. And her partner, Luartaro, well, he leaves. And in a twist, he actually uses footage he shot of the teak coffins during their escape to land himself some TV deals.
Ouch. Opportunistic?
You could certainly see it that way. Annja was initially pretty dismayed, but, there's another side to it.
How so?
Well, his actions, however motivated, did bring the discovery of those coffins, and the human remains eventually found preserved within them to public attention. It sparked legitimate archaeological interest.
So it raises that tricky question, doesn't it, about ethics versus discovery? Does the pursuit of knowledge sometimes justify questionable methods? Where's the line?
It's a constant debate in archaeology and beyond, isn't it? What's the cost of owning history versus sharing it, even if sharing happens in a complicated way? There are no easy answers there.
And for Annja, the story isn't over. The main thread is still dangling.
Right. Her next step, we learn, is to investigate another skull bowl. Apparently there's one very similar in a museum in Florida, of all places.
Florida. From Southeast Asia to Florida.
Seems so. She hopes studying it might help her understand how these terrible objects work. And maybe, just maybe, find out if Gary Thomsen's soul, trapped reliving his death since 1965, can ever truly be set free.
It leaves you thinking, doesn't it? Some secrets, once you dig them up, they don't stay buried, they keep whispering, demanding something. What really stands out to you from this whole tangled story?